There's a rumor going around that you are the author of an upcoming book.
Yes, that is a rumor, and I can confirm.
Okay, all right. So, for those of you who haven't heard yet, there's a new book coming out on AI. We've got a title now. We've all agreed on the title. It's In fact, you were instrumental in coming up with the title, so I'll let you announce the title on your show. You got to remember
Well,
it,
you
huh?
might want to mention it because I actually forget the full title because we've gone through so many iterations of it. But I know it starts with AI rising.
AI rising. That's the important part. How to thrive in the age of abundance. Yeah, and so it's almost done here. We're a couple of weeks away from the pre-buying, and 4 or 5 weeks away from having it available to purchase. So anyway, that's going to be exciting. I wanted to ask you an economics question, a general economy question this morning. The
Yes.
the internet, I'm sorry, the stock market is melting down. The bond market is melting down. Interest rates are popping up over my number, my absolute 4.15 number today because people are nervous. Maybe the Fed won't cut. Maybe the Fed won't cut. You've been following this a long time. I've been following it a long time, but okay, we know they're dual mandates. This is really obvious. They want to keep jobs up and they want to keep inflation down. That's their dual mandate. How many times does Chair Powell have to tell us that? But if the jobs are okay and if the inflation is okay, wouldn't they also potentially want to take into consideration that a cut at this time will help manufacturing, lower income people, small banks? I'm leaving out something. Like all these things that have been kind of beat down. And oh, I know durables. So these are all categories that will be helped that have been the beaten down parts of the economy. Wouldn't they at least take that into consideration and still give us the cuts that they've planned?
Well, I would hope so. And the reason is that the parts of the economy that are doing well don't need the cuts.
Right.
Spending in AI that we're going to discuss today is going to happen no matter what the Fed does, right? So the strength that's in the economy is strong and it's going to be strong no matter what happens. So the other parts of the economy need help. So to your point, yes, they should.
All right. Well, we can hope that they do. I think that the market, as it does so often, I mean, it was really good news. I mean, there was so much good news this morning. It was kind of hard to ignore it. And as the market often does, it'll have this knee-jerk reaction to all that good news or whatever news. And then slowly during the course of the rest of the day, it kind of pulls back, gets back to, well, maybe it's not as bad as we think. But tomorrow could add icing to the cake of today's good news, or it could be neutral. I'm kind of hoping for neutral right now.
It's funny though, Randy, when you think about it, because the stock market likes low rates.
Yes.
And in order to get low rates, traditionally you need kind of a bad economy, right? But then come earnings season, if the earnings aren't there, then investors aren't happy. So it's like, which one do you want,
Yes. Yes.
right?
We're
Long term,
crawl-
obviously, we want growth.
we're climbing the wall of worry. It's always what am I worried about this week?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
if you got some slides,
I do.
yeah,
I do. And here we go. So speaking of a wall of worry, here's a mountain of
mountain of worry.
trouble. I don't know, but nothing for a Cybertruck.
Nah.
Um, quite beautiful images. I don't know exactly where this is.
Yeah.
Could be Iceland.
Could it?
Could be.
Okay.
I don't know. But it's always fun to watch the Cybertruck climbing the wall of worry, the mountain of worry. All right, let's get that out of the way. Big news. It looks like version 14 of FSD is, according to Elon, going into early wide release next week.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll talk about that in just a second, those words. And then he says 14.1 and about 2 weeks later, and then finally 14.2. And he says the car will feel almost like it's sentient, a sentient being by 14.2.
But apparently not on 14 or 14.1.
Not quite. So I'm not sure what changes are there, but this is exciting. This is promising.
Oh yeah, this is big. Yeah.
Now, our friend Phil, I think tempered expectations a little bit here, and he says the term early wide release refers to a beta stage software deployment, right? Where Tesla FSD 14.0 is rolled out to a broader user base for real world testing. So I'm not sure this is, this wide release next week is coming to all of us.
Okay. All
I
right.
think it may take a little bit yet,
Okay.
if I read Phil's post correctly.
Right.
And if you're speaking with him tomorrow, perhaps you can get a
Yeah. We'll
deeper
get.
understanding of this
Yeah.
nuance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just sounding the cautionary bell a little bit. Next week sounds good, but I don't think that I'm going to see it next week.
Yeah. So overall, though, if we combine this, and maybe you're going to do this in a minute, but if we take the 14.1, 2 weeks later, 14 point, I'm sorry, 2 weeks later, 14.1, and then finally 14.2, which he doesn't say how much longer, it kind of is in the same range of his earlier statements that we'd be looking at 2 to 3 months as this whole thing kind of flows out.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know that this changes any of that.
Right.
There's rumors going around that they'd like to have all this out by the annual meeting
Right.
in early November, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd like to.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would like to have it out yesterday if they could.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
that's right. Um, the Cybertruck account is getting a little bit aggressive with its marketing.
Hmm.
You have 7 days to bring me home, or else. So, go get a Cybertruck.
Well, 0% financing and the $7,500 off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some deals with inventory Cybertrucks where you can get free supercharging
Yeah.
as well in certain places.
So are you expecting the Model Q to be announced like as soon as the month is over, or what do you think?
We have announcements to make today, Randy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, never mind. I'm
Yeah.
getting ahead of you again.
Yeah. So speaking of the Cybertruck, Franz, in an interview, was asked if they considered making a cyber SUV or a smaller Cybertruck. And he said, those are definitely things we've considered. Wait and see is probably the best way I can answer that. Right. So,
Yeah. All right.
so stay tuned.
Working on many innovative and fun things. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. I have doubts.
Well, you might want to see a doctor for those.
I know, I know. I just, I have a sneaky suspicion that the Cybertruck line is done and one and done. And the worst part about it is I'm not even sure that the Cybertruck is going to ever become a thing.
Well, it's a thing. I have one.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's never going to become, like something you can buy for 55,000 or
Yeah.
59.5, whatever that's going to be compelling. I don't know.
Well, they're going to be available in South Korea. They're going to be available in
Right.
other
Right.
nations. So I'm hopeful that they continue to make these vehicles for a good long time.
Well, I
They
think
are
that,
they are amazing trucks.
yeah, well, I think that move, I was really pleased with that move from a marketing standpoint. Okay, you've got the price, you've probably got your cost down now where it is a profitable item at 80,000.
Yeah.
So if you can now sell it to that cream of the crop, cream those markets, as we used to call it, uh, you know, there's that person that can afford it in each market. That makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful. Tony C here says Franz's wait and see answer had me thinking about all the equipment we've seen arriving at Giga Texas over the last several months. And he says this seems far more than just the Cybercab unboxed process, another model, he says. So there's quite a few boxes here. I guess in order to have an unboxed process, Randy, do you have to open boxes
Lots
first?
of boxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, but we're breaking some news today, Randy. As
okay.
we've
Okay.
done before, we're going to show a new product right now.
Okay. Great. 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 Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Can you
ready.
see it?
I even have new glasses here, so I shouldn't have to lean up quite so much, but
Okay, let me help you.
I see something with, okay. Yeah. Oh,
Do you see it now?
yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
So the more affordable model is a tiny Cybertruck, right? Technically, more affordable models.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hope they also count towards Elon's compensation plan metrics because they can sell a lot of these. Yeah. Anyway, it looks like they're getting ready for a big delivery event here at Giga Texas. I guess if we pan back out, you can see they've got vehicles lined up here, and maybe they'll have an event this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
The sprint to the finish.
Sprint to the finish. But those little Cybertrucks are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like this Q3 is going to be pretty strong.
That's,
And we've got a report from Wolf Research. They're saying that they estimate between 465 and 470,000 vehicles in Q3, which would be up 22% from the last quarter, but about the same as last year, about 1% higher.
mhm.
And they're citing Wall Street consensus of 445. To me, that may be a pretty stale number at this point, so I wouldn't hang my hat on that. But either way, it looks like it should be a pretty good quarter. They're expecting gross margins, excluding credits, of 16.5 to 17%. And then, of course, Q4 is going to be more challenging. So we'll see how markets react here when they announce these numbers. But anyway, this quarter could be pretty nice.
Yeah, there's a range of opinions. Troy Teslike is, I think, last time I checked, 472, are right about there. I don't know if he changed it after the China numbers came in or not. European numbers today were a little softer, maybe than people were thinking, but I think Berlin is shipping way more countries than just
That's right.
that group. So some of these other countries might be doing we know they are doing much better. I think it was Turkey. I think that was having some real good numbers. And I'm not so worried about quarter four. What are you thinking about quarter four?
Well, I'm not so worried about it either because, again, I think the number of vehicles delivered is not really that relevant going
That's
forward.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to watch, and I hope the company makes as many vehicles as they can, and so on. That's great, but it's just not
Right.
that important anymore.
Right, right.
This is a report for Europe, the different manufacturers. We've got Tesla all the way down here, close to the bottom of the page. So it's showing that year to date, this is through August in 2025, 133,857 units. And that's down 32.6% from last year in the same time period of 198,474. So a pretty big drop for Tesla year
Right.
over year. And even in the month of August, it was 22% lower than what they did in August 2024.
Right.
So it's been tough sledding for Tesla in Europe. Now, the interesting thing is it jumps out here, and I'm sorry if I move my cursor around, it's going to hide some things, but you can see BYD is up 280% year over year
Right.
from just 25,000 a year ago to 95,000. Okay. And I don't know. Yeah, these aren't obviously, these are not just EVs. These are all cars, all vehicles.
Hmm.
And then we've got SAIC Motor up 20%. They were 160,000 last year, now 192.
Hmm.
So they're as big as Tesla was last year. And I thought I saw there was another Chinese company on here, but maybe not. I guess those two are the standouts. So kind of Tesla's loss has been their gain, so to speak. But we got
Yeah,
Volkswagen Group. Sorry?
but as you said, this is not just full on BEVs.
Yeah.
And we know that the Europeans are doing much better with the hybrids.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Volkswagen's up, 3.7% year over year, 2.3 million vehicles.
mhm.
Stellantis is down 7%. Renault is up 6. Hyundai is down about 3. Toyota Group's down almost 7. So, there's some struggles, but Tesla certainly from a percentage standpoint has gone down the most.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. China. We've got what is it? I guess one more week and a bit to
Right.
go.
Hmm.
So 17,300 last week, which is pretty good
Hmm.
compared to the same week last year. That was 13.8.
Right.
And for the year to date so far, 413,000, and versus last year's 437,000. So we're starting to catch back up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Although all these weeks, except for this last one, were a little bit less than their similar week in 2024. So we're not making a real effort to catch up yet, but hopefully in Q4 we can. But things in China look pretty decent. And
Right.
certainly the new Model YL should help once that really starts to ramp. The
Right.
ramp appears to be pretty slow so far.
Yeah, it's running around. I think this week was like 700 or 750, something like that. And Brian Wang, who watches this really carefully, is hoping they will eventually get this up to 3 or 4,000 a week, and that would make a big difference.
Yeah, and here's a visual of that with the last 5 weeks in each quarter highlighted. This is Q1, Q2, and then Q3, with the fifth week not yet on here. So it should be probably over, hopefully 20,000.
Hmm.
If it was as good as Q3 last year, then I think we'd be looking at a number that's like 22.5 or 23,000 potentially.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a big step up. So we'll see if we get that kind of increase or not.
Hmm.
So far this year, we've always had a pretty decent increase in the last week of each quarter.
Right.
Particularly in Q2, we saw a nice bump. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We could get a nice surprise there, hopefully next Tuesday. And then speaking of nice surprises, Elon seems to have some friends in the auto industry. The Hyundai executive chair said some nice things about Elon. He says someone had asked earlier who you really respect in this industry, and my answer is Elon Musk. Without him, our industry, including his company, would never change, maybe. The SDV software, I guess you would think he was trying to say FSD, but I guess he's saying the software-defined vehicle
Right.
concept
Right.
and the EV concept, he really pushed and accelerated that. I think he's really remarkable for doing that. So the speculation is here that it would be Hyundai that would be talking with Tesla
Oh,
about licensing FSD,
I see. Yeah.
right? Why else would you say such nice things about a competitor if you weren't, maybe trying to be partners with them?
Yeah, and Hyundai is one of the few that actually would meet the criteria that Elon laid out, because Elon is saying it needs to be, some vehicles where we can get millions
Yeah.
of units, not somebody that's down in the hundreds of thousands. So Hyundai is, I think, either the Hyundai, when you combine them with Kia, which they're basically the same company. When you combine them together, they, I think, are the fourth or fifth largest total vehicle sales.
Yep. So that would definitely be interesting. So we'll see. But maybe in Q4 we get some kind of announcement on this front.
Hmm. Hmm.
Pure speculation on my part. Maybe more hope than anything at this point.
Right, right, right.
So Elon's talking about here, he says what matters is that the cycle time of the overall production process can get to around 10 seconds, and there's a path to cars coming off the line every 5 seconds. He says, I posted about Tesla taking this new path based on physics first principles long ago. And he says, by the way, anyone's welcome to copy it. Our patents are open source. And he's talking about the unboxed production method here.
Right.
There's some concern that, this Tesla should not be in any rush to share their patents with the Chinese automakers.
Right.
But this is what Elon has always done. I guess he sort of feels like it's not worth the legal headache of trying to enforce your patents.
Especially against the Chinese.
Yeah.
And also, I know a little bit about this category. I've had patents. I've what do you call it? Licensed patents. Of course, I have attended some law school or something. And the thing with patents is they're very expensive, and it takes a long time to fight the patent battles. And then the opposite side is it's not that hard sometimes to get around them,
Hmm.
or to think you've gotten around them at least enough to where it creates a long, drawn out legal battle. So I think this is just I engaged in exactly one patent battle in my entire 29 years of running a manufacturing business, and we didn't even go after the patent. We went after palming off, which is a variation of copying. So it's a tough sled.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. It sort of turns out this unbox process is not too dissimilar to what Boeing does when they make airplanes.
Oh, really?
They build different pieces and everything comes together at the final assembly.
Yeah.
Um, so, Tesla's borrowing concepts from other areas as well.
Sure.
But obviously, how you do it for a car, obviously, is going to be very different than how Boeing's building an airplane.
Exactly.
It's similar concept.
Right.
All right, let's shift to AI. This is a cartoon. We've got artificial intelligence. Heck, we aren't even long regular intelligence. Say the two guys on Wall Street. At least they recognize it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. They say, if you can figure out the problem, then you're halfway done, right?
Yeah, that's right. Can't solve it if you don't know what the problem is. So here's an interesting fact that AI-related stocks have accounted for 75% of the S&P 500 returns, 80% of earnings growth of the S&P, and 90% of the capital spending growth since ChatGPT launched in November of 2022. Right? It's stunning, right?
It is stunning. It's not slowing down.
Right. So this is a report from JP Morgan. And you kind of had some fun with the cover page of this report.
Yeah.
Kind of turning it into one of those really horror movies. But in the report, actually, some interesting facts. So if you look at this chart here on the top right, the U.S. construction spending, billions of dollars spent on data centers, is now approaching the same amount of money that we're spending on office buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you would have asked me, I would have said that we would have left this in the dust a long time ago. Right. And then the good thing here, it looks like we're increasing our spending on electric power generation.
Yeah. Starting all the way back in 20, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, before in 19, we really started jumping up. Yeah.
Yeah. A bit of a flat line during COVID here. And same thing with office buildings down.
Right.
And this was flat, I guess, but it's really started to kick up.
Right.
Now, this is kind of interesting here. If we go to the table here to the left, if we look at, again, the benchmark here since November of 2022 when ChatGPT was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
So AI, the direct AI companies, they're up 181%. Their earnings up 124%. Okay. And their CapEx plus R&D growth is up 63%. Okay. And then they've also got AI utilities, AI capital equipment. And if you take the S&P 500 X, these AI components, you've only got a 25% increase in price. You've got a 9% increase in earnings growth and only a 4% increase in CapEx and R&D. So the rest of the S&P is kind of stagnating relative to the AI players.
Yeah.
And then here is the contribution to the S&P since November of 2022. 75% of the return of the S&P from AI, the direct AI companies, and the other two, it's like 1% each. Earnings growth 80%, and then the CapEx plus R&D 90%.
Wow.
It's pretty staggering.
It is, yes.
Okay. And then a little discussion here about the U.S. government investment in Intel. And his basic point here is that Taiwan essentially did the same thing with TSMC.
Oh, okay.
He says there are plenty of critics of the U.S. government's 10% stake in Intel, but I'm not one of them. To me, it strikes me as way too late in the game for the U.S. to rely primarily on market forces to support U.S. domestic chip fabrication. Intel needs an anchor of demand to make its chip foundry viable. But what customer would like to go with Intel if there's a chance its foundry won't survive? So with the U.S. government anchor investment in place, NVIDIA followed with a $5 billion partnership in Intel, and other fabless chip companies may follow.
Right.
So he's just saying this is a good thing for USA Inc. And you can see at one point that Intel was a far bigger company than TSMC was.
Yeah.
About 500 billion, $500 billion. And since that dot-com peak, it's come way down. While TSMC has soared to become more than $1 trillion company.
Right.
Okay. And then just more information about this here. Um, don't need to spend too much time on this, but if anybody wants to read this, they can just pause the video here.
Hmm.
Um, apparently, the Taiwanese government still has about a 6 to 7% ownership of TSMC. And they continue to support the company with subsidized water and electricity prices, tax credits, and the creation of industrial parks and research centers. So this is very much a
Yeah,
government-supported company,
yeah.
which the world benefits from, frankly. And they're saying also the Dutch government supported ASML, which is another key
Mm.
component of the semiconductor, um, fabrication process. They make some equipment that if we didn't have that equipment, we wouldn't have NVIDIA chips.
Yeah, I've wondered out loud to myself, maybe not to anybody else, but ASML seems to be a bigger potential risk to the world economy than either TSMC, than even TSMC. There's nobody else, right? Is
Right.
it your understanding they are the only ones that make the equipment that does these printed circuits,
Yeah,
uh,
that etches the designs on the
etches the
chips.
designs? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, they're a critical company.
yeah,
It's a Dutch-based company, but big operations in the U.S.
yeah.
So they're in good hands in that regard. And then Michael goes on here in his report, and he says, while the U.S. has a stellar track record in creating new companies compared to Europe, the rest of the world often provides a lot more in the way of tax, loan, grant, and other subsidies to its manufacturing industries in the U.S.
Hmm.
Right? And he says in China, the world's most mercantile country, such subsidies can reach 15 to 35% of industry profits.
Hmm.
Okay. And then in this little chart, he's got France, Sweden, Germany, and the US. The US is the red line. At less than half of 1% share of GDP comes from government expenditures on subsidies.
Maybe we're doing something right.
Maybe. Yeah. And you can see France is going the other way,
Yeah, right.
approaching 3%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have, you and I might have already talked about this on one show. I mean, on the one hand, I'm glad they did the NVIDIA thing. On the other hand, I'm not sure that this is absolutely the right direction to go. I mean, we've already used what do they call it? The golden vote with U.S. Steel last week. They call it the golden vote or something like that. The ability to stop or require anything that the U.S. government wants of U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
They have that special voting power. This evidence here would tell me that all of these other governments in the world that are doing all these things, and these governments aren't holding a candle to the economic engine in the United States, which has, I think, 10 of the 10 top companies in the world and maybe 22 of the top 27, something like that.
Yeah, no, I think you're making an important point. I also think, though, that there may be certain
Yeah,
circumstances,
yeah,
and maybe it's one of those things for every three that we try, one works,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but if you didn't try, it's like, well, do you really want to give away that industry to another country?
Hmm.
It seems pretty clear to me that semiconductor manufacturing is going to be a pretty important thing for the next century.
Yeah.
And it's a nice idea to think that we can make some of that stuff here,
Hmm. Hmm.
with just a little bit of help. So I don't know. I see your point though, right? I mean, it'd be nice to have a world where the government wasn't involved in any of this stuff.
Right.
The reality is that's not true anywhere else in the world.
Right, right.
So you can have those ideals, but then
Hmm.
if you're
Hmm.
up against this as competition and China supporting their industries, giving them 15 to 35% of their profits,
Right.
that's not a fair playing field,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And I don't know that any tariff policy is really going to change that,
Yeah.
right? You can try, and maybe you'll make a dent, and that's great, but I don't know that we're fundamentally going to change the way that China does business.
I think truly, I'm a person who really believes in the margins. So when you say it'll only make a dent, it may be that's all we need to do is make a dent.
Yeah.
We need to marginally change the way things are being done. We're not trying to upend the entire, world economy. I think people are worried that that's what Trump was trying to do. I think he's trying to make differences in the margins, and the difference in the margins will be a thing that will raise the wages of our middle class and uh, provide an opportunity for us to make sure we are manufacturing and or mining the strategic things that we need at home.
Hmm. Now, if you look at this little chart here in the bottom right and the different categories, direct subsidies, China is a big fan of direct subsidies.
Mm.
There's not too many other countries that have a significant chunk. Maybe Japan and Brazil do.
Yeah.
But in the US, you don't really see that dark blue show up at all.
Hmm.
And in the US, we have R&D tax incentives and government support for R&D. Those are the two biggest categories,
Hmm.
as well as this other category. And you see that in Taiwan, R&D tax incentives.
Hmm. Hmm.
But interestingly, France is employing the same strategy. But what does France have to show for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, it's not just the amount of money, it's how effective it is.
Yeah.
And maybe there's other things that France is doing that negates these efforts. I'm not sure.
Trump said something at the United Nations about what these Western European countries are doing, but
Yeah. And then we've got, an example here on the top left, state-owned banks, share of banking system assets.
hmm,
So the emerging markets, India and China, state-owned banks, 60, 70%.
hmm,
In the advanced economies, the US is among the lowest, Japan,
hmm.
Italy, Canada, Spain. So state-owned banks really aren't so much a thing here, as much of a thing anyway.
Yeah.
And then the 20 most mercantilist countries, China's number one, followed by India, Brazil.
Mercantilist meaning export. Export.
Forced local production,
I'm sorry.
forced local production,
Forced
IP
local.
protections, market access, domestic benefits, and preferences, and currency manipulation.
Okay.
That's in the bucket here that makes up this global mercantilist index
Okay.
score.
Okay.
The United States, they don't jump out to me on this list. Didn't make the top 20
Right.
or 25 here.
Right.
Okay. And then this is kind of interesting, this bottom right one, this bubble chart. Creation of new public companies in the 21st century. So the US versus the EU.
Hmm.
So on the x-axis here, we have the number of companies. And so the US, we have, well over 200. And then the bubble is the market cap size.
Hmm.
So far fewer companies in Europe, and then just not as much success.
Right.
Is it dependent upon the number of companies? If Europe would have had 200 companies, would they also have had some up in this category? Maybe, maybe not.
So Europe, about 40 years ago, 45 years ago, started creating this bifurcation, I believe, at 50. If you had 50 employees, all your rules changed. Now, the United States has been doing that now for about 25 years, but Europe started way before we did. And so what would happen would be you'd get to 50 employees and you'd start a new company
Hmm.
because it was draconian what you
Yeah.
had to do when you got over 50, including some of these layoff policies where you're not allowed to lay off without like 3 months of severance or whatever. So I think that's what I noticed when I was dealing with the Europeans was that they didn't have any companies over 50, but they have a lot of companies that are under 50.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that. I also think that things like vacation policies make a big difference,
Yep.
right? No doubt, perhaps the quality of life in Europe is better in many ways, but from a competitive standpoint, if you take the whole summer off, that may put you at a bit of a competitive disadvantage.
Yeah, yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. Not passing judgment on, which is better or whatever, but if you're looking at it from an economic perspective, it's clear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday, Randy, was an anniversary of sorts.
I see.
The Supercharger network is now 13 years old.
Okay.
Hopefully you sent the Supercharger network a card.
I should have.
Yeah.
I've done it again. I'm a day late and a dollar short.
Elon announced it with a video. He was looking a little younger 13 years ago, as we all would have. And he was talking about building it out. Here's the first
Yeah.
places to build it out, right? And then
Huh.
within 6 months, I think he said it would be like this.
Huh.
And then within a year, it would be like this. Now, I don't know why there's a donut here in Arkansas,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
was one of the last places in the U.S. to fill in. There's a little corner of Texas here as well.
Right.
North
Oh,
Dakota left off. Might have something to do with the density of the
I
population.
would say I've been in that little corner of Texas.
Yeah, this is where Big Bend National Park is down here. It's a great place. Yeah. So anyway, they've come a long way. Um, Somebody was complaining that the supercharging is no longer free. Back then it was,
Hmm.
right? And Elon said it would be free for, for the lifetime, whatever and the comment was, well, you know, Elon, you always knew it wasn't going to be free forever, right?
Hmm.
Well, it was free for those early adopters, and this guy is saying that his is still free. Here's his
Oh,
car,
I see.
and he still has free access to
Oh,
superchargers.
okay.
I don't know how old this vehicle is, but it certainly looks like it's an older
Yeah, yeah.
Model S. And at the bottom here, this person says, at the time the video was created, lifetime supercharging was included for free on Model S and Model X. It was offered from 2012 through 2016. This was a nice perk for early adopters.
Yeah.
So maybe one day it'll be free again.
Maybe so.
Tesla Charging announced yesterday the first highway sign with superchargers.
Yeah.
More to come. So that's kind of cool.
It got me going through all kinds of questions in my mind about whether this is free, or whether the states charge for this or the federal government charges. I don't have any idea.
As taxpayers, we're paying for it, Randy.
One way or the other, huh?
Yeah. There's a little bit of criticism about the visibility of this, that the word supercharger is pretty small.
Oh, yeah.
That seems like probably the most important thing. Maybe even more important than the Tesla logo.
Right, right.
Although you get to something like Shell, and it's pretty clear they don't have to say gas station.
No, it's true.
Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see how this evolves over time.
And there's something to be said for the fact that if you don't tell them, people will have to find out, and then that'll implant it in their mind what Tesla is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of it here, because the comment was, well, if you have a Tesla, you don't need a sign to tell you where the supercharger is. The car just goes there.
Right.
Right. So Max, who's the head of the supercharging group, says, 99.98% of road trips are already possible in the US in a Tesla. Tesla drivers know this through their vehicle touchscreen, but too many people have no clue.
Hmm.
So the first state-owned highway sign, so I guess maybe the state's paying for this,
Hmm.
showing Tesla superchargers are now going live. We plan on rolling this out more broadly. Hopefully this helps with turning any range anxiety into range confidence for the general public.
Hmm. Hmm.
If they see that there's EV
Right.
charging everywhere,
Right.
maybe you'll consider buying an EV the next time.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. Imad Mostak predicts that in a few years, China will stop exporting robots and use them all internally.
Wow.
He says solves the population pyramid issues. Homegrown AI will be ubiquitous, and the highest ROI is using them locally. It will accelerate China's industrial advantage even more, backed by plentiful energy.
So this is I'll bridge this little thing. I'm going to be studying it more, but there was a report this morning on CNBC that the Eurozone, the China area, and the United States zone, if you Canada, US, and Mexico, are all pulling in. They're all trading more within their zones and less outside their zones.
Hmm.
This would certainly be in keeping with Elon's idea that it's smarter to do that. As these different countries are becoming more and more prosperous and able to do more and more things, then it makes more sense to possibly buy it locally. But there seems to be, according to this particular individual, it's partially a decision that to do it this way. And so I thought that was interesting and worthy of kind of back of the mind right now, but maybe study later how that might impact various things that we're all doing.
This is an interesting chart too, and if I understand this, that even if the cost of a humanoid robot is $150,000,
Mhm.
it's still cheaper than the labor rates in every country, perhaps except India.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
obviously, it's not showing all countries on here. There's a few others, obviously, that are lower than that.
Right.
But as you drive down the cost of the robot, and they're showing that maybe at around, 65,000 or something like that, that at that point it becomes cheaper than labor in India,
Yeah.
right? And then, of course, eventually $25,000 robots. You're looking at hourly, labor rates like $1 an hour,
Right. Right. Right.
right? So pretty interesting. Like $150,000 robot, or even, probably a $300,000 robot, it's probably still cheaper than the labor costs of certainly the developed world.
Yes, and you and I think, would be the leaders in this analysis in terms of the YouTube world and the X world, because that's not even, I'm 100% sure these people aren't taking into consideration all how many did we end up on our lists when we combine them? Maybe 30 other advantages to robots that are real expenses, real
It was a
costs.
long list.
There's a
Yeah.
long
It
list.
got to the point where it was difficult to summarize it on one page.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Here's a nice visualization. $1 million worth of Waymos versus 1 million worth of Tesla robotaxis. So 1 million gets you 6 Waymos,
Oh,
right? And on the robotaxi side, looks like we've got the 30.
uh, yeah,
So what would you rather invest in, Randy?
yeah, I
6
don't know.
Waymos or 30 Teslas?
Yeah, that's pretty funny because I was just asking Brian Wang last night, I think. I said, well, Waymo is worth, I think the stock valuation right now is 45 billion. And I believe that Waymo would be thrilled if they had 5,000 of these in circulation at the end of 2026. And I think the average Tesla investor would be aghast if there wasn't 100,000 at least robotaxis out there by the end of 2026. So technically, the market should be figuring that Tesla is worth at least 20. The Tesla robotaxi division alone is worth at least 20 Waymos, and probably more than that because Elon, of course, says it'll be a million. That would be 200
Yeah.
times the Waymo size. So
Well, in time, Randy, in time.
that would be one way to look at the valuation right now of robotaxi, uh,
Sure.
based on what the market is saying Waymo's worth.
Yep. Yep. Good point. And here's a nice chart from Jonathan Stokes. He says, the speed of Tesla's robotaxi expansion fascinates me. I'm not sure anyone's tracking the progress of all 18 cities in one place. So I compiled a chart this weekend in a fit of OCD, he says.
What does that say
Welcome to
about
my
you?
world, Jonathan. Although I wouldn't describe it as OCD, but perhaps it is. I don't know. Anyway, this was a nice chart, and he's got the different states and the cities listed there, and then he's got when the permit was applied, when the permit was received, safety driver advertisement, or they're trying to hire a safety driver,
Right.
and he's got this noted as LiDAR tests. I think Phil Bicel corrected him and said it's more just validation, road validation,
I like that better. Yeah.
than LiDAR tests.
Mhm.
And then whether it's launched and then geofence expansion and then no safety drivers, which we're not there yet in any of them, but he's got different dates and kind of tracking each market.
Right.
Actually, I can expand this where you can see a little larger.
Mhm.
So that was a nice piece.
I like it. Yeah.
I think probably what we should do is do a similar one for Waymo,
Yeah, there you go.
right? And then hopefully eventually we can track the number of vehicles or something a bit more meaningful. But this is a good first cut at it.
Yeah, maybe in fact, maybe there would be one more line there, which would be expansion to 100 or expansion to 500 or something.
Yeah.
Vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that brings us to the end of my prepared remarks.
You prepared those? I guess it's obvious. People don't know if I prepare my remarks or not because I don't have fancy slides.
I distinguish myself with my slides.
You have, you have.
You don't have any other guest that comes on your show and prepares a slide presentation.
Well, Brian Wang sometimes prepares a
That's
slide
true. Sorry.
presentation.
Yes,
Yes,
Brian is excellent.
Brian does.
Yep.
But his are not, I'm sorry, Brian, they're not as pretty.
But more information rich perhaps than mine.
Well, I would go, I wouldn't, I'm not, I love Brian. I think he's brilliant. I'm not even going to go that far. I think yours are very information rich. Sometimes Brian's might be more his own individual research, where he has, you know, although in the case we were just talking about the Optimus thing, you and I were simultaneously coming out with that list of the various ways that you could save so much money in a business environment. I'm remembering, things like you don't have to review them. You don't have to, decide on a wage increase or not. There's
Yeah.
all
My
these.
my pinned post, I think, on my X account is the advantages of humanoid robots.
Oh, it is the pin
So
post.
it's quite old now, but it's a good post. It's a good reminder for everybody
Yeah.
just how advantageous they are versus human workers.
There you go, folks. So go to his X account. I think if I remember right, it's CERN Basher
It is.
because there is no other CERN Basher that you have to compete with. I mean, how many? It's unbelievable to me. Randy Kirk, neither one of those names is like in the top popular list. But I even had to fight with some San Francisco football player for position, in the internet world, and I had to, add all kinds of numbers to the end of my name to get the to get any any positioning at all.
Well, I mean, I had a fight too, Randy. I had to fight with a certain particle accelerator in Europe.
That's right. Yes.
And in
Yes.
fact, I'm surprised that they didn't try to ban my account as saying, why do we want a CERN basher out there? Why would somebody be bashing our efforts?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, to my point, if you're interested in this is maybe one of the smartest things that CERN has ever done. And I say that because I was doing it at the same time. But anyway, CERN, of course, was able to gain so much from looking at my work and then adding to his list. Anyway,
Hmm.
I have not pinned my list though in my X account.
You're missing out on all kinds of opportunities there, Randy.
All right, so if that sounds interesting to you, and believe me, it is. It's super interesting. Go check out CERN's X account, and you could follow him while you're there. That would probably be a really good thing to do. And then maybe if you have a couple of bucks, invested in the stock market right now, and you need somebody to give you a little more guidance in that regard, you could look up his company. Or do people, that's interesting. Do people find you by DMing you? Do you publish your email? How do people find you?
If they go to our website, if you just Google
Oh,
Brilliant Advice,
okay.
you'll find us on the web. We're brilliantadvice.net,
.net.
and there's a contact us button on there. That's the
Okay.
best way to reach
That's the
us.
best way. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be, some people might want to do that. And in fact, CERN has just told me that we will be doing a special. This is a special you are not going to want to miss. I think this will probably be next Thursday night. CERN is going to be traveling, and so we're going to do this in the next couple of days. We're going to do a special. Would you like to describe what that special is going to be?
Sure. Yeah. The short version of it is that investors who need income find it incredibly challenging in today's world to find suitable investments to generate a decent amount of income. Interest rates used to be lower. Now they've come back up. Maybe now they're going down a little bit. And what I want to do is share with the viewers some new investments that have come out that might be very appealing for income-oriented investors.
Mhm, mhm.
Has nothing to do with Tesla.
Right.
So this is just something else, just
Right.
for those folks that might be interested in earning some income. There's a lot of people that have IRAs and they're subject to RMDs,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And so they want to generate income or just for any other purpose. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this will be something that will be a little different for my show. But we found when we did that show a couple of weeks ago, which was a regular show, but then we ended with your conversation about some investing principles.
Hmm.
That was people really, really, really liked that show. We got a massive amount of folks looking at that. So I think we'll, from time to time, Cern and I will be doing some of these things. I think another one that we're probably going to work on sometime will be, which we've talked about, I think, one other time, but like 401k, 403, I mean, SEP IRA, all these different choices that we have. And what surprised me about that conversation was sometimes none of the above is the
That's
best
right.
way to go. So anyway, I think we'll also tackle that subject sometime in the not too distant future. Let me know in the comments below if that stuff is interesting to you. It appears to be, but I'd love to hear more commentary.
Yeah, we never know until we try it. So let's try a few things and see where the interest is.
All right, so there will be a second CERN Basher video this weekend, probably on Saturday morning is the most likely time. So look for that if you're looking for something fun to do in between college football.
We'll have a few more cartoons than this one did.
A few more cartoons. Yes. All right. Let's go. All right. So thanks as always, CERN, for coming on. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Randy.